Hello and welcome to the Circuit of Jerez-Angel Nieto circuit, where we've just witnessed a great race. It's round 4 of the MotoGP World Championship. I'm Steve Day, Birt and Simon Crafar join me to really dig deep and find out what happened here today. I think it's fair to say, Marc Márquez here today really did the job from 5th on the grid. What an intriguing race, but one of the cleverest races I think that Marc has ridden for a very, very long time.
Yeah, absolutely, Steve. He rode with his head, he rode very, very smart. He knew at the start of the race, Jorge Lorenzo, gambling, a bold move by Lorenzo to run that soft option front tyre. He knew Jorge was going to try and bolt away at the front. He just had to play the patient game. He did it absolutely brilliantly. The only real scare that he had when he got to the front was when he hit that gravel that Tom Luthi kicked up coming through the Alex Crivier corner. How did he save that? Fortunate enough to speak to him after the race, he said that was a seriously scary moment. From then onwards, though, he never looked back. It was another dominant performance. He's in cruise control right now, Steve.
Yeah, Simon, this morning he said that he found something in warm-up, and particularly in Sector 4. He wanted to be strong there. You called it yesterday. You still felt that Marc was probably going to win here today. He was so neat and tidy throughout the whole race.
You know, that to me is a sign of a brilliant rider, you know, another level, to be able to change himself to make it work, you know. He was pushing, trying to make it happen probably in the wrong area the day before and fell. The day before that fell. And then when it came down to it, he put it all together, found what the problem was and fixed it.
Absolute drama that went on. We have to talk about it. How could we not? What happened over at turn 6? Sorry about the wind here as well. It's incredibly breezy as we stand here up towards turn 1. The battle for second place was on. Jorge Lorenzo, that soft tyre started to go away from him. His teammate Andrea Dovizioso was trying to find a way past. Pedrosa was in there as well, and then absolute carnage at turn 6.
It was a real sad ending for Dovizioso, Lorenzo and Pedrosa, because all three of them had rode brilliantly. The best we've seen from Jorge Lorenzo this year by a long, long way. How he made that soft tyre stick on that front end so long was really, really impressive. It's a testament to his smooth riding style. But Dovizioso, he could see Márquez was checking out. He wanted to get through on Lorenzo. Such a hard move to make, though. Got inside that turn 6, ran wide. Lorenzo dived on the inside, and then, of course, Pedrosa saw the gap, went for it, as you'd expect him to. Two riders just going for the same piece of tarmac, Steve. It's been declared a racing incident, as we expected. For me, I think Lorenzo, having seen Andrea come up the inside and run wide, he was focused more on maybe Andrea coming back. He wasn't really looking on the inside. Dani Pedrosa, of course, with the lean angle that he was carrying, he had no vision. He could not see Lorenzo whatsoever. So that was the collision. Nobody at fault whatsoever. Really, really disastrous, though, for the championship. Certainly for Andrea Dovizioso, he surrendered a big chunk of points. Costly for Lorenzo as well, and poor old Dani Pedrosa. That guy just has no luck whatsoever, does he? Fingers crossed Dani escaped injury, because that was another big air crash. Just so unfortunate for all three of them.
Yeah, really a huge disappointment. Simon, your take on it?
Yeah, Matt pretty much called it. You know, Danny, because the other two had run wide, he took the opportunity like every rider would. And I don't blame him, but the problem was Lorenzo came back, didn't know he was there, and it all went wrong. Talk about commentator's curse. Because I was talking with their team manager, about to ask, do you think this is the beginning of the change of luck for Lorenzo?
So they're blaming you.
And then, oh no. But Dovi is the one hit the most because championship, you know.
Yeah, absolutely devastating for Dovizioso. What it did mean, of course, is the man inheriting it was the man who was on the front row, Joan Zarco, and he's now moved up to second in the championship ahead of his French Grand Prix. A good result at the end of the day for Zarco.
What a weekend it's been for Joan Zarco, Steve, signing that big money KTM deal on the eve of this Spanish Grand Prix, and then an unlikely, fortunate podium for him, but as we said in commentary, you've got to be there to grasp those opportunities that come your way. You know, nobody was more surprised than Joan Zarco when he came around that turn 6. He said, actually, he counted or tried to count the number of bikes that were on the floor, because he wasn't sure if there was 2 or 3 or 4 guys that had gone down. But he was there to pounce and seize that opportunity, and really, really crucial 20 points for his championship. Second now, going to his home Grand Prix in France. He's only 12 points behind Marc Márquez. He's right in championship contention.
Picking up the pieces in third place, Andrea Iannone, as soon as he'd seen the drama, he really went into podium mode. He all of a sudden realised there's a trophy on offer here, and he really did throw it all out there on that final lap to get past Danilo Petrucci.
It was a good test for him, how much he wanted it, and his team manager Davide Brivio was super happy that he put that extra effort in, didn't fall off like his teammate, and got the podium for them, you know. Yeah, perfect.
Quick word on the Alma Pramac Ducatis as well. A good result for Petrucci and Miller.
Yeah, both of them, they were actually running different tyres, but ended up in the race. together, pretty much together, and it was really interesting who was going to come out better, but Danilo did the job today.
I've got to talk to you about Movistar Yamaha. Valentino Rossi, in the end, I suspect that he probably will look back at 5th place and say, well, 11 points, thank you very much. A disastrous weekend by all accounts for Yamaha.
Yeah, Dovizioso might have got out of jail in a couple of the first 3 races this year, but the Yamahas really did escape big stars today, didn't they, Steve? These hot conditions, we know last year was their real Achilles heel. It's like kryptonite, isn't it, these kind of conditions for the Yamaha. There's been no significant improvement. If it wasn't for all the drama and chaos going on in front of them, Valentino Rossi would not have been inside the top 6, and Maverick Vinales was nowhere. He'd have been outside of the top 10. A lot of work to do for Yamaha, quite clearly, Steve, in these conditions. We're going to circuits which we know where we potentially can have baking hot conditions. Yamaha, they are playing catch-up. They're a long, long way behind Honda and Ducati, certainly when we get these type of hot conditions.
Before we move on to quickly round up Moto2 and Moto3, I just want to get a quick word from you both about Marc Márquez. This is looking a little bit frightening for the opposition at the moment, isn't it? He looks so strong. And had Argentina not gone the way it had, he could almost be 40 points clear here.
I think a lot of us had seen that coming. We were all worried for the championship because the Honda is so good compared to last year. Marc doesn't have to, he doesn't have to ride as dangerously as he did last year. It doesn't have to take as many risks. And if it keeps going this way, it's a worry, you know. It's the best rider on the best bike at the moment.
Marc's saying himself, look guys, it's only round 4. I can't win the championship yet, but I mean, they are all going to have to try and up their game, aren't they, if they want to beat this man?
Yeah, he's the man with a target on his back. As you'd expect, he's the reigning world champion. For me, Steve, it's the mental resolve that guy's got to come back from all the drama that he had in Argentina. He was savaged by the critics, wasn't he? The response has been emphatic. Back-to-back victories, 50 points out of 50. He looks right back on his A game. He looks as good as he was way back in 2014 when he won those first 10 Grand Prix. He is going to take some beating. He was the red hot favourite coming into this season, and nothing has changed my opinion on that in these first 4 Grand Prix. I can see him romping it, to be honest. A
disappointing day, of course, for Alex Rins and Cal Crutchlow, both of them going out of the race, and that's costly for Cal. But I'll move on to Moto2 now in the lower classes. First of all, I'll go to Moto3. Philip Ertel, because you spoke to Peter throughout the weekend. What a great moment to see the father and son duo there hugging each other, embracing, and a great win for Philip.
Yeah, I mean, Peter, you can imagine how amazing happy he is. You know, he stood on the podium himself, and then seeing his son do it as well after helping him all the way through with their same mechanic that that the father used to run is running Philip now. I think he was super nervous before the race. You know, I felt it. He was almost a little bit. Well, he was shaking a little, but he kept it all together, and that's a sign of, I think, you know, no mistakes. He can do it again.
Yeah, there was obviously drama in that race as well, and we'll talk more about that when we get to France involving Aaron Canet. Not sure if there's any penalty in yet, but there might be one coming. Quickly onto Moto2, Lorenzo Baldassarri domination.
Yeah, he was in a class of his own all weekend, wasn't he? The circuit best lap yesterday in FP3, pole position, the fastest lap in the race, a new lap record, and the race win. It just does not get any better than that, and he's, of course, forced himself right back in the championship contention. Good job by Miguel Oliveira coming from 14th to 2nd. He said that felt like a win. Pecco Bagnaia having another great ride, but yeah, it was the Balda show all weekend, wasn't it, in Moto2? Richly deserved victory.
Well, that wraps up After the Flag here from Jerez. My thanks to Matt, my thanks to Simon. We've had a brilliant weekend here. The weather has been spectacular as well, and thanks to the Spanish fans. We'll see you in France.
Márquez is going to strike, and the Jorge Lorenzo corner, he takes Jorge Lorenzo. Márquez leads the Spanish Grand Prix.
Oh! Dovizioso, Lorenzo and Pedrosa are all down. They're out of the race. Márquez regains control of the World Championship in Jerez.